From Interfaith Alliance, this is State of Belief Radio. I'm your host, Reverend Welton Gaddy. How do you balance the ambition that it takes to become an Olympic champion with the mandates of the religious faith that gives you the strength to get there? Many Christian athletes, among others, regularly credit God for their victories. But faith can pose challenges as well. Israeli President Shimon Peres was absent from the opening ceremonies because he was observing the Sabbath during the Muslim holy month of Ramadan, which many observe by abstaining from food and drink from sunup to sundown. Tough to do that if you're competing at a world-class athletic event. And then, of course, there are religious dress codes. Well, joining me right now to talk about these challenges is Sarah Kureshi, who participated in the 2005 Islamic Women's Games and now teaches here in D.C. at Georgetown University. Dr. Kureshi, welcome to State of Belief Radio.
Thanks for having me on the show. It's an honor to be here.
Now, these issues may be a source of idle curiosity for most of us, but if you're a Muslim athlete, I would think they become much more than that for you. Could you talk about the challenges of competing at an event like the Olympics during the holy season of Ramadan?
So I can speak to my experiences as a NCAA Division I college athlete during the times that I had to fast during Ramadan and compete. During the holy month of Ramadan, there are many challenges for Muslim athletes. I think they face more challenges than maybe somebody who's not practicing during that month or who isn't a practicing Muslim. And, the month of Ramadan for Muslims in general is a really beautiful month. It has a lot of blessings that come along with it. And along with that, come challenges for athletes and other people who are doing certain types of jobs that might be physically stressful. One of the things, the most important things is we don't eat from sunrise to sunset. So no water, no food, nothing. And, as you can imagine, for an athlete, that's really challenging, especially while training. And there's always a risk of dehydration, risk of heat exhaustion, other risks to our bodies as athletes. So I think that's one of the biggest challenges during Ramadan is trying to balance how do we fit in our training schedule to fit in with the fasting that's been prescribed for us.
Are there ways to participate but still respect the holy month fast? How does that work?
So, Ramadan is not just about abstaining from food and drink from sunrise to sunset. Ramadan is a lot deeper, and it's about disciplining the soul. It's about watching your actions. It's about watching what you say, watching what you look at, and it's kind of a time of renewal and re-inspiration for Muslims, and it's kind of the month that sets us up for the rest of the year to work on our character and work on our own personal goals and discipline. So I think most people hear about Ramadan, they hear about us Muslims not eating and drinking, but it is a lot more than just that. So that's just to give you a big picture. Now, part of Ramadan is, abstaining from food and drink. And so in terms of athletes finding other ways, I'm not a scholar. I don't know the rulings, but for people who are sick and unable to fast or people who are traveling, there are ways for them to make up the fast either at a later time or to pay charity, and their fast can be made up that way. So there is flexibility, and that's one of the things about Islam that I think most people don't recognize or understand is that there is a lot of flexibility in the religion, and it's not something that's supposed to be hard on Muslims. For me, in track during college, my coach we'd train in the morning a little bit after I ate, and I just adjusted my training schedule to make that work.
What are the dress code issues that are faced by some Muslim athletes? I know there are some.
So, in Islam, there are certain dress code requirements that, might be different for males and females. But in the end, it's kind of each practicing Muslim, the way they decide to dress and interpret that in their own personal relationship with their God or their religion. So as far as there being dress codes, I think for certain countries, you are going to, like Saudi Arabia, you definitely have to cover your head and your arms have to be covered and your legs have to be covered. Whereas there might be some other Muslim countries where there's more flexibility. So I think people should understand the difference between a Muslim's own personal dress code versus what a country might require of them. And on top of that, I think that there are ways for athletes to dress in a way where they are respecting their own beliefs or their country's beliefs and their religion, while also being able to compete and the dress not impeding their competition.
You participated in the Islamic Women's Games in 2005. I know that's different than participating in a global event. You were with Muslims, but talk about that experience.
My experience in Iran in 2005 was one of the best experiences of my life. It was pretty amazing to go as an American Muslim female athlete and meet 1,300 other Muslim female athletes from all over the world. And I felt quite ignorant myself, not knowing that Pakistan had such an amazing track team, or knowing that, Malaysia had amazing archery team and ping pong team. So for me, it was an eye-opening experience to see the diversity of Muslim women and the strength that they have. It was special because it allowed Muslim women to compete in a forum where they could wear whatever they wanted and feel comfortable, because men and photographers were not allowed in the areas of competition. So women could wear what they felt comfortable, whatever that may mean, versus covering from head to toe that they might be required to do of themselves in public when men are around. So it was really interesting to be wearing our hijabs and our abayas, which is the long dresses. And then we got into the track arena, and it felt like a normal college track meet. Everybody was wearing either whether it's tank tops and shorts or tights, and it was just amazing to interact with these women who I feel are going to be future leaders in the countries that they were representing. And I felt really honored to be there and to represent America there. One of the best parts of that experience was not just, competing in track and getting to visit Iran, but it was being able to represent America there and shatter stereotypes over there, because the biggest question I got from most everybody, not just the Irani people, but other Muslim countries, was, how can you be an American Muslim? They just couldn't understand how American and Muslim could fit together in the same sentence. And I got that opportunity to talk to all of them and explain how being American and being Muslim is not incompatible in any way. And actually, Islam and America have a lot of shared values. And I got to talk about how much I have loved and appreciate growing up in America, all the benefits I've had, and how much, growing up as a Muslim in America, I've gotten to grow and develop in my personal faith, because I'm allowed to practice in the way that I choose to, and there are no restrictions on me here in America.
As our world grows ever more diverse, do you think we'll see more accommodation for different cultures and faiths in future global events like the Olympic Games?
Yes, I definitely think so. I think now with the push from Muslim countries, from the female athletes in Muslim countries and around the world, to include Muslim women in more athletics and competitions, I think that slowly things will start to change, and there will be more venues that accommodate clothing that is, Muslim friendly. There won't be as many restrictions. I think it's going to take time, and it's going to take a lot of understanding, a lot of discussion. But I think that's also the best part about this is with kind of some of these women athletes or some of the countries, pushing for women to compete, it opens dialogue and discussion about what it means to be a Muslim woman, the diversity of Muslim women you're going to find around the world, and the way that they practice their faith. And I hope that it happens more quickly than slowly, but that, more countries in these international athletic events allow Muslim women to compete in a way where they can wear what is what they feel is respecting their faith and their religion and also be able to compete. And one example I'll just throw out is Kulsum Abdullah, who I actually grew up with in Florida. We were even college roommates, but she's a weightlifter. And initially, the International Weightlifting Foundation was not letting her compete in her hijab and long sleeves, but she basically designed a uniform that she presented to them and they allowed her to compete.
Dr. Sarah Kureshi is a professor at Georgetown University. She competed in the 2005 Islamic Women's Games. Dr. Kureshi, I really appreciate you coming on to give us a little insight into these issues. Thank you, and Ramadan Mubarak.
Thank you so much for having me on the show. I appreciate that you all are putting together shows like this, break down stereotypes and build bridges between different cultures.